I've just found the coolest website to do speaking activities with your students in the English language classroom. Let's go take a look. So the name of the website is virtualvacation.us. When we arrive at the website, we can see walking tour, city guesser, driving tour, travel hub, and the reason why this website is perfect for our English language students is that we can take our students from the classroom to a destination around the world and get them to really immerse themselves in the environment and describe everything that's happening. So, for example, the walking tour, if we click on this, and we have all of these destinations. So let's choose Berlin, begin walking. You get these really high quality videos of the city that you've chosen. And you can see here, you're walking through as if you were there. You can see the cars going by, the people walking by, and all the buildings, the weather, for example, and lots of other things you might notice. If we come back to driving tour, this is a little bit different, as you can imagine. So we'll go to New York, and in this example, we're going to see you sat in a car driving through New York. So as you can imagine, you're sat here, you're in what looks like, well, I think, yes, this is Times Square, and you're driving through, and again, because you're driving, you're seeing a lot more things a lot more quickly, so this is also great. We can also do a flying tour. So we had walking, driving, and then we can go to, for example, let's fly to Sydney. And when we click on this feed, we should be able to see as if we were in the plane going to that destination. And here we are, you can see that now. Isn't that amazing? So we've had walking, driving, and flying. Now you can also do a more static view. So choose a virtual window. You can choose a window at random or choose a destination. Let's choose London. So you can imagine here, this is a window looking into London. We're just going to be sat. We're not going to move at all, and we're going to see everyone else moving around us. So let's take a look at the first activity that I've used with my students this week using virtualvacation.us. Now, if you're familiar with GeoGuessr, then you might be familiar also with City Guesser. So this is right here, we just click on begin. And what we have now is a choice of worldwide, USA, Europe, or monuments, and we can also choose by country. Let's go to worldwide, and when we click on this, we have to choose, or guess, where we are in the world. Now, the way I use this in the classroom is that I get students to try and describe as much as possible before they have to guess where it is in the world. So get them to talk about the shops, get them to talk about what the people are doing, get them to think about what they can see perhaps painted on the wall. Maybe describe these flowers here. The longer this person keeps walking, the more comes into view. So, okay, what's this girl doing? She's speaking on the phone. These people are crossing the road. There is a McDonald's there. Now, I've just seen a street sign, so it looks like we're in the US. I've just seen a sign that says Jersey City. So let's see. We're going to go to the US. Jersey, I think, is on the East Coast. Let's see. New Jersey. Let's put a thing here. Okay. Guess. Oh, I was 92 miles out, so I was pretty close. And once we've guessed that place, it then moves on to the next one, and you can carry on. Activity number 2 is one I've used with my students, particularly with my young learners, because we are practicing at the moment the present continuous. And we're using the present continuous to describe actions or describe what we are seeing. So as you can imagine, this website is great for that. So the option I'm going to choose for this is to do a walking tour. I'm going to choose, let's say, Chicago. I'm going to begin walking. Now with my students, we've already gone over the form, so the structure of the present continuous. All I want my students to do now is to use the present continuous to describe everything they see. So, for example, these people are walking, the 2 people at the hotel are working, these people are walking, maybe they're walking to work, this person is riding a bike. Now, before you do this activity with your students, maybe have a look at some of the videos yourself beforehand and think about pre-teaching some vocabulary that they're probably going to need to be able to describe what they're seeing in the present continuous in these videos. Now, the next activity I want to share with you is not using the present continuous, but using vocabulary that we've recently studied on places in a town. So what I'm going to use to do this activity is the driving tour. So I'm going to click here. Let's choose Paris. So we're going to be driving through Paris, and I'm going to ask my students to think of all the vocabulary of places in a town that they're familiar with or they remember. So for example, I can see a tall building there, I can see a restaurant, I can see a clothes shop. What else can I see? I think I can see a bank. There is a bakery. Okay, I can see a restaurant, and I can see a chemist or a pharmacy on the left there. I think that's a jewelry shop. Now, it all depends on where you go on this website. For example, in Paris there, you could see there are some options for students to use the vocabulary of places in the video, but there are going to be other videos of other places that are probably going to give you more options. The next activity that I want to show you is an activity that puts the student in the shoes of the person that is walking through the city. And you're going to get them to think about, well, why is that person here? Where have they been? Where are they going? What is their plan for the day? So all about speculation. So for this activity, we're going to choose a walking tour. I'm going to choose Milan. And while the students are watching this person walking through Milan, you're going to get them to think about questions that I just mentioned. So where has this person been? Where are they going? And why are they in Milan? So you could get students using language like maybe, or perhaps, probably, possibly this person is going to visit this church that he's seeing ahead. Maybe he's woken up in the hotel and he's had breakfast and now he's discovering or exploring the city. After visiting the cathedral, he's going to have lunch in a restaurant nearby. The next activity is similar to the previous activity, but instead of asking the students to put themselves in the shoe of the person that's walking through the city, it's ask the students to identify people that they notice on the streets and try to think of a short backstory for those people. So I'm going to show you an example. If we go to Seoul, then I can immediately see, okay, we have a family on the left, and maybe they have gone out for dinner together, or maybe they've gone to the park. I think these people are either leaving or going to work. Maybe it's the end of a long day for them. We can see another family. It looks like they're shopping. Maybe it's the child's birthday and they're going to buy him a present. This woman is taking a photo. Maybe she's interested in the shop. Maybe she's going to come back later. This woman with the suitcase, maybe she's traveling here and she's visiting family or friends. You can do this with a lot of the walking videos that you have on this website, and it's really useful practice to students to speculate about what they're seeing. The next activity is a prediction task. So instead of going into a walking or driving tour or even a flying tour, I get the students to choose a place and to predict what they're going to see. So if we do a driving tour and we choose New York, have the students brainstorm what are they going to see in New York if they're going to drive in New York. So let's imagine they say we're going to see yellow taxis, we're going to see a lot of billboards, we're going to see a lot of people, we're going to see a lot of tourists, we might see a New York Police Department car, we might see some people playing music on the streets. Really spend a lot of time trying to get as much information from the students as possible and make a note of what their predictions are as the teacher and see how many things they get right. The next activity is a speaking task that I use with my students when we wanted to practice adjectives, so describe how they're feeling. So how I used it on this website was I made the most of flying, driving and walking to replicate how a whole journey might feel, right from when you leave your house to take the plane, to get the taxi from the airport to the hotel, and then the walking from the hotel around the city. So the way this works is that let's start with a flying tour, and we're always going to choose the same destination. So for example, I'm going to choose Paris for flying, driving and walking. So what I do is I choose Paris, flying, and I get the students to say or discuss how they might be feeling at this stage of the journey. So perhaps they are now, looks like they're arriving in Paris. How are you feeling? Maybe you're excited, maybe you're hungry because you haven't eaten anything. Or perhaps you're a bit nervous because maybe the landing of the plane is when you feel a bit uneasy or a bit scared. If we then go to drive and click Paris again, maybe now you've landed in Paris and you're in the car and you're looking through the car window and you're just looking at all the things you can see in Paris. And maybe you're surprised, you feel surprised by the things you're seeing. Maybe you're curious to know why people are doing certain things. Again, perhaps you feel excited because you're here, you're getting even closer to your destination. Maybe seeing the restaurants again, you're feeling hungry or thirsty. And now if we go to walk, then we're going to choose Paris again, which is just here. Maybe now you're feeling a bit tired. You're feeling really hungry, even you're feeling starving, and you're just willing to get to that first place to take something to eat. Maybe, why don't you go there for something to eat? Now, the final activity that I would love to do with my students using this website as an inspiration is to ask my students to take their mobile phones or video cameras and to go into where they live and maybe do a walking video of the town or city where they live. I'm then going to ask them to come back into class and show the video to the other students and get the students to describe what they're seeing, about what the people are wearing, about what the people are doing, etc. Using this website as an inspiration for students to create their own content for their own students or their own classmates to describe. So, there are 8 ideas on how to use virtualvacation.us in your classroom to get your students speaking. Now, this website has a wealth of opportunities for your students to start speaking. And I know that I've given you 8 activities today, but I'm sure there's a lot of different ways that we can use this website in your classroom. So if you do find another way of using it, let me know in the comments below, what activity did you do with your students? Thank you for watching and see you next time.